Hi, babes. Welcome to the Chase Life with Kelly podcast. I am your host, Kelly Chase. What we're going to talk about today is just something that I just literally was sitting here at my parents' house and I was like, I just need to pop on the podcast real quick and just express a conversation or share a conversation that I had with a friend. Because I feel like with the what's going on in the world right now, in the United States right now in particular, just kind of like the political climate of things. You guys know I'm not a political person, so we're not going to like talk politics, but I want to share my perspective on things because it might be helpful. Obviously, a friend came to me seeking support and advice, and I thought that that was, I was like, wow, this could be a conversation for the podcast. Um, and honestly, if I had someone to have banter and dialogue with, that would be even more exceptional, but I don't. And I was like, I just need to record this, get it off my chest. So I feel like there's this, and dealt with this personally I've dealt with this personally. There are some close relationships of mine that have been, I guess, torn apart in a sense because of different political views, and I hate it. It makes things very uncomfortable for everybody. It also is very sad. It's not even the uncomfortable part. Like I can handle uncomfortable, but it makes things very sad because friendships have been, a friendship for a really long time, and then politics get in the way. And I think it sucks that we allow politics to do that to us. And that's what it's trying to do. In my opinion, that is what the government is trying to do. That's what politics are trying to do. They're trying to divide the people. That's why, it's like left, right, red, blue. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, I'm not a very political person, but that is where I'm going to stand on that. Like, if it divides people, it's not good. It's not healthy for us. That's probably an ignorant thing on my part in the sense of where I say I don't get too involved with politics. Yeah, very privileged. I get it. Like, there are many people that the laws affect. And so, yes, I'm a privileged white American woman, but I do know what's going on, right? And I have compassion towards a lot of humans that are going through the things that the laws are restricting them of. Um, so yeah, when the elections were going on, I kept seeing this thing of like policies over people or people over policy. And I was like, wow, it was kind of tracking for me. I was like, that is kind of true. Like people are either picking policies or they're choosing humans. Like compassion for humans, or hey, let's put these policies in place to better, improve certain areas of the country, right? I just feel like something can go hand in hand. Like they can work simultaneously. That is my thought. That is my belief. That we can, we always say if there's a will, there's a way. So why can't there be a way? Why can't we do both? Just like a lot of people have limiting beliefs around, you can't be successful and have a like monetarily and career business successful and have a successful, healthy relationship marriage. But I disagree. And maybe it's because I'm biased and I have been around people who have both. I know people that have both. Is it easy for either? No, it's not. There's a lot of struggles, there's a lot of challenge that goes behind all of that, but I do believe that it is possible. So, and again, maybe that's just like my positivity, my optimism, but I love that gift that I have that I can see different perspectives. And that's one thing about politics that I don't voice my opinion often, ever, more or less when I'm voicing it in like on social media or something. If I were to, it's more or less like this little, my inner child wounds pop up and it's like, oh, let's just not go there because people are going to hate or they're going to like criticize you or whatever. And I just have stayed away from it. But this is my podcast and I feel like you guys, I'm not here about to talk about politics in the sense of like, I believe in this one way. I'm here to share my perspective, and this is my creative outlet, and this is like my platform for speaking my truth. So here we are. Um, but yeah, I feel like with all the work that I have done with mindset and studying my mind, studying my thoughts, studying my human behavior, studying other people's behaviors and mindset, just inner wounds, all of the things that I have been studying and healing over the last 7.5, 8 years, I feel like I have gotten to a place where I can hold space for various perspectives. And therefore, that is a part of why I don't say things online sometimes that might be controversial, because I like talk myself out of it before I could even post it. Like, I'm like, well, my first instinct is this. So if I was in a conversation with you, like you were sitting in front of me, I might respond in this way. But then I would be like, well, wait, I can see it this way and this way and this way. But online, if I were to just say the first thing, I probably get like canceled, maybe, or whatever. Maybe not canceled, but it's almost like, okay, could I say the one thing, but then also come back and be like, oh, but guys, also, I see it this way and this way and this way and this way. And so I can hold space for all of these different opinions, thoughts, and perceptions, perspectives. So, anyways, with that being said, again, this state of the climate of the country right now, it just feels very heavy for a lot of people. Again, going back to my ignorance and my privilege, I don't let it affect me that much. I see the things on social media. I see the things on the little bit of news that I watch sometimes. I don't like, I do think see I feel like I see both sides on social media. And it's interesting because I'm like, wow, if someone was like watching my activity on social media, they would be like, is she Democrat? Is she Republican? Because I like both. I like posts for both sides. And you know what? There are other sides, right? Like there are liberals and whatnot. Um, but I do because it's like something like I'm like, I could agree with that perspective, or I could agree with that perspective. I don't agree with that one. I don't agree with that one. So it's very interesting. And again, my behavior on social media, it's very interesting how I'm like, I remember back in 2020, I liked, what was that? Candace West? Is that her name? I don't even know, right? But the woman who was very like in support of like Republican and Trump and everything. And then like apparently now she's like not. But anyways, I liked something that she spoke about back then. And someone like commented, they obviously, and that's when Love is Blind first aired. And I was like, and someone commented something like, oh, of course you're a Republican, or like, of course you're like a Trumpster or something. And I was like, no, I'm not, but believe what you want to believe, you little keyboard warrior. um, anyways, so it was just, that's probably the only time that I've ever seen that. But anyways, what I wanted to share again is the fact that I want to encourage you all to be able to have healthy conversations with your friends in coming from a place of like respect, right? We want to feel seen and we want to feel heard. I believe your best thing that you can do for yourself and others is to be able to literally improve and increase the skill and ability to hold space for people's perspectives and not shame people for theirs or criticize or judge people for their perspective. Just be like, okay, like I don't necessarily agree with that. That's fine if you want to think that way. But when you start going in on someone about like all of these things that one side has done, and it's like you're trying to persuade that person and or you're judging that person because they didn't have the same view, I don't think that that is a behavior that comes from heart space. And what we are trying to do is, hurt people, free people, free people. So if you can heal yourself and be more emotionally intelligent, then I feel like we can all come from a more heart space when we're having conversations with others or with our actions. Like I said, my friends apparently, God, it's just so sad in my heart. Um, that like almost made me cry. Like my friends for a very long time, and based on one's like just I don't even think they really had like too much dialogue, but it was like they just knew what one was supporting, the other one had differing opinion, and it just like totally misaligned, and I just hate it because the one person was like, I'm not even like that like yeah, I voted for this person, but I'm not even like, I'm not like a total like 100% like would go to their rallies and like, whatever. And so I just like hate that it separated this friendship. Hurts my heart so bad. um, so maybe that's why I felt called to come on here and talk a little bit about it. So let's see. Okay, so I received this text and I'm going to share it. Obviously, I'm not going to share who it's from, but I'm going to share it because, again, I want you to just hear my response. And I hope that I can encourage you and inspire you next time that you're having these conversations, or even if it's just that you see something on social media that you're like, no. I want you to be able to hold space for the perspective of the person who is sharing the thing. Now, I'm not going to say like if they're like pro something that you are totally not pro about and you will never be, which I get that. Like, I'm not saying to like agree with their perspective. I'm just saying to hold space for that perspective. Okay. Just be like, okay. And then you can be like, no, I don't agree with that. Fine. Move on. You don't need to like comment on it. You don't need to do because you're not here to prove a point. Okay. You can't change. You can't, unless you have an extremely intelligent conversation and you both are rational human beings and you both have the ability to hold space for one another. I don't think in this political climate that it's going to be that easy to change someone's opinion on what's going on. I hope, I wish, I pray that that is the case. But, anyways, so this is what this person asked me: how to protect your mental health in moments of having different views, whether political or religious or lifestyle, to preserve your energy and honestly not contribute to the hate in society that is so prevalent. Which I was like, oh my God, yeah, exactly. Like, it's so prevalent. It's so divided and I hate it. Um, this person continues, like it just feels that we're in such times where very few practice agree to disagree. Or is the solution to push away from those that don't align with your mindset and beliefs? So I responded, hi, I love this conversation. Okay, so I can address this on the podcast or social media as well. And I think I will because I've seen politics tear some friendships apart, which obviously that's what I just said. On a friend level, for me, I mentioned it briefly on my podcast 2 episodes ago, speaking on the topic of being curious. But that I guess was more so an individual act. Like, what can we do when we see things out there? Like, just get curious, okay? And if you are having a conversation with someone, be more curious. Why do you feel that way? Why do you think that way? What are some facts that are backing that up? And don't say it from like a judgment, like, oh, fact, let me see some facts. Don't say it from these like hurt, angry, frustrated spaces. But curiosity is key. Curiosity is everything. Like with mindset, that's how I've been able to do all this work, is because I got curious about myself. I started dating myself. I started asking myself the questions. Um, you got to become a better you, but the only way to do that is to get to know yourself, and you have to be curious with yourself. So it's the same thing with communicating with other humans. You got to get curious. Or if you see something, like get a little curious. So I continued. Same though for friends with opposing views. Getting curious and emotionally intelligent people can hold space for various perceptions and perspectives from a neutral position, thus being able to agree to disagree more easily. They responded, yes. Like, I don't know if that's like the empath or people pleaser in me, but I just feel strongly of putting political views outside of friendships because I don't think that's the definition of someone's heart. But I feel lately that's been getting harder to do with some versus all. I responded, example, I've seen different content around Charlie Kirk, who I did not know at all before he was killed. One, I can have empathy for his family, and I also think that he was very much in his light and power, true conviction in what he stood for and spoke about, which I believe is admirable. Some video clips only are just that, clips, and not the whole conversation. I listened to one full conversation regarding the Second Amendment and guns, and I honestly agreed with some of his thoughts. Two, altering opinion. I have also heard him say very racist or prejudiced comments, and that's one thing I absolutely cannot understand. If God loves all, then how could he judge some people? And then this person responded, yes, with a bunch of exclamation points. This to the literal T. Um, and they continued also same of I had no idea who he was prior to his death, but when it happened, like as a human, absolutely him being shot for speaking what he believed in should never be been applauded. But he also said extremely controversial comments that if he was preaching Christianity was not reflective of that either, specifically his racist comments. And I'm a strong believer that everyone should live a life that they define to make them happy and believe what they want to believe. But I will happily stay quiet in conversations that to me is counterproductive to rationalize what someone that's stuck in their mindset and ways. Like it's a waste of energy. I genuinely have so many thoughts and feelings that I honestly only speak openly about with my sister because we allow that space with each other without judgments and we align in views. But I find it challenging of but I find it so challenging of balancing having a voice and it leading to heated debate that will just tarnish a lot. I responded, anyone who cannot have a rational conversation and who cannot at least respect one's opinions, energy should not be wasted on. It's a lose-lose battle and it's just not worth it. Protect your peace. Yes, I've definitely been doing that, but I'm also extremely passionate and I'm trying to not let me see anyone, and I'm trying to not let it see, to not let me see anyone differently so I can actually preach what I'm saying to respect people's beliefs, but it's hard to like go back to normal. And I said, I have certainly thought about sharing my sentiments on my Instagram, but I also don't know that much about the guy, and I'm not about to have DM debates with people who only would be trying to convince me that their thoughts are the only correct opinion. Granted, I might share what I just wrote you in my text because I feel that's pretty good. Well, now we're sharing it on the podcast, so here we go. But also, I might just continue on my peaceful path and stay in my lane. They wrote, Amen, sister. Like I'll just sit here sipping on my water and coffee. Um, Yeah. So anyways, I wanted to share all that with you guys. I guess it's reiteration of what I said earlier, but I think that we all could just do a better job listening, being curious, and agreeing to disagree. Okay. And be okay and go on with your day. Don't let politics hurt a relationship. And with that being said, I get it if you have very different views. Like if you have different views on something, I'm going to make a interesting comparison here. If you have different views on something, first, I don't want that to create a wedge between a friendship or a relationship, right? But I'm so much around like self-love and self-worth and mindset, right? And like putting yourselves in environments of people that support you and surround yourself with the people that are going to lift you up, they're going to motivate you, they're going to empower you. Good heart-centered people, right? No one that brings you down. So if you feel like you are surrounded by people that have such differing or such opposing views and they're pushing that on you or can't accept or can't, yeah, just acknowledge and accept that you have a different opinion or like, and they're just like my way or the highway kind of thing. I don't feel like that is a mutual relationship. I mean, my parents in particular, like some of their friends over the years have had different political views, but they can still get together. They can still enjoy. They just don't really have political conversations. And that's fine, but they love each other for all other parts of them, right? And so I feel like that is emotional intelligence. Like you can hold space and you can do that. On the flip side, like I just said, but if it's like that it brings you down, it sucks your energy out, it's not a healthy relationship. um, why stay in it? Why stay in it? Yeah, maybe just create some distance between you and that person. And although, like I said, that happened with two friends of mine, and it's I was got a little emotional and choked up earlier. Like it's sad. It's really sad, and I don't want to see that. So I feel like if you can love that person for everything else that they are, granted, there could be so many different other reasons that you misalign with that person and maybe you're just not as close. Like I have friends that I've been friends with for a long time that I'm like I may not talk to on a regular basis because maybe we don't vibe as much as we used to, you know? I mean, there are times I like think back to my high school like best friends and some of those people, yes, I do still stay in touch with, but like they're not my like oh like my partner in crime like they were in high school, right? Which is sad to think about. And I like get really nostalgic, especially like when I come home um to my parents' house and I see like old like high school pictures up and things and I'm just like, "Oh my God, like I miss those days, right?" But we do evolve and some people are like maybe they're only meant to be in your life for what is it? It's a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And maybe the season has come and gone for some relationships, some friendships. But I just want to like I would rather you try to love everything about that person and just accept them for who they are and just be like, okay, you know what, we have different opinions, different views, as long as they're not trying to like shove it down my throat and change my mind and that they aren't coming at me um then and they're trying to love you still. I think that there's a way to be able to still love them and accept them for who they are because otherwise you're kind of doing the same thing, you're kind of judging them um and you're coming more from like a wound versus a heart space and love. Something that a mentor had shared with a group coaching program in the past was to, and this, I have done this and I encourage you to do it too, but get out a sheet of paper and a pen and you write out all the thoughts that you currently have about a person, the situation, all of it. Like you could either write like, I mean, you could even write like F you, right? Like you are getting out everything that you want to say to that person, everything that you're thinking about that person, every little thing about that relationship as of current. You write it out. You get it out as much as possible. This could be this could be half page, this could be 10 pages long, but you are getting everything out until you can't get it out because this is you actually feeling and processing your emotions. So you do this, and then after that, you write out like neutral comments of you know, F that person. I just want them to be able to see me. I just want them to be able to understand me. I wish things were different. I hope that we can be friends still, or I hope that, my boyfriend loves me again, whatever the case may be. I hope that I can love my boyfriend again. And then after you get those neutral statements out, then you go into like, this is where like the law of vibration, law of attraction, manifestation comes in because your thoughts are very powerful and the energy that you emit is very powerful. So if you can get yourself to then write it out as if this perfect situation is happening. So you're writing out like, I'm so happy and grateful now that my partner and I are aligning on all of these different topics. And we are so much more in love today than we have ever been, truly, because we learned to communicate and we got curious with each other and we could acknowledge and hold space and ask like, okay, well, why? But why do you think that? Why? Where does that come from? Where does that belief come from? Where does that thought come from? Where does that limiting thought come from? And you just get curious and you like peel back the layers and or a friendship do the same thing, right? And it's like I'm so happy and grateful now that me and I'm just using a name, Amber, are besties again. And oh my gosh, it just feels so good to feel so seen and feel so held. And I feel like she feels the same way, and we can just like love on each other. And coming from such a heart space, and gosh, we get to like hang out all the time now. And it's so peaceful, it's so calm, it's just a beautiful harmonious relationship, and it's just incredible. I get there. I think that that will help you because when you start acting as if and you're like the person that you've become, like the lessons, like I'm so happy and grateful now that I learned that this about myself and that wow, I was actually coming from a wounded place and now I can hold space for other people because I was able to like work through that wound. And why did this bother me so much? It's like get yourself to that place and then you have the self-awareness And then you can welcome in the relationship with open arms and heart space. I just think that that could be a very helpful exercise for you. And again, it will help you process your emotions instead of bottling them up and keeping them stuck inside of you. So give that a try. Um, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I know it was kind of different of a topic than I normally talk about, but again, we're here about mindset, relationships, entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurship, we'll dabble in that here and there. But I feel like this was just something I really wanted to express and something I feel like the world just kind of needed to hear right now. Let's just create more love. Love wins. And act and think from heart space. Hold space for other people's thoughts and opinions. Um, let's get out of our own way. Okay, guys, I love y'all. Yeah. And also, side note, I listened to the Taylor Swift album, and I kind of love the canceled song the most. Really good. Maybe because I have like, been publicly scrutinized and, just I thought I got canceled one time. So it's just it really resonated. I like that one. And then the Life of the Showgirl, I like how she says something about like the hustle and yeah, there's certain lyrics in some of the songs that I really, really admire and resonate with. And so, but anyways, Cancel is my like number one right now. But I still am like a really folklore, the one, Cardigan, those are like my jams. That was out in 2020. I think I was just going through something really intense back in 20. I mean, we all were going through something really intense, but like romantic relationship wise. And those songs really spoke to me, and I just love the melody of them. So Folklore album was how I became a fan of Taylor Swift. Now I'm just like more of like intrigued by her marketing and like I am entertained so much by her fans, like the true Swifties that like can investigate and like dissect every single verse and be like, that means this and this means that. I just think it's so fun. But anyways, I don't know if you guys watched, or I mean, if you guys listened to the album, DM me and tell me what your favorite song was. Tell me why. Or if you're like, no, Taylor Swift, I did not like this album at all. Would love to hear about it. And obviously, if you have any thoughts or feedback for this episode, I'm happy to listen. So send me a DM. But anyways, share this with your friends. Share these. I mean, if you're loving the Chase Life with Kelly podcast, please share it with your friends and family, coworkers, colleagues, and please leave a review. I would love for you to leave a review. Um, yeah, download, share, follow all the things, and check out my digital courses if you are interested in the work, because the work is very, very powerful. And I don't know if I would be able to hold space for different people's perspectives had I not done the work. So powerful stuff. All right, guys, I love you. Continue to do great things and chase life with Kelly. Chat next time. Bye.